Hi, this is Anna Scheller, and you're listening to Black Belt Selling. Welcome to Black Belt Selling with Stephanie and Anna Scheller. I'm Anna, and normally you hear I'm Stephanie, but due to the hectic holiday season, we're not able to be together this week. But we still wanted to provide you with some tremendous information, things that are going to help you on your journey to smash through those obstacles that keep you from making more sales. Always, you can learn more about us by going to our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/Black Belt Selling. There we post motivational quotes. We have people who join us, but most of all, you will hear every time a Black Belt Selling podcast goes live. So join us at www.facebook.com/groups/Black Belt Selling. Today, you're going to hear from Stephanie. I asked her to make a special recording, and I think you're really going to like it. But before we get to what she has to share, and you'll want to listen to the end, and here's why. She's going to be sharing some very personal, painful moments and how gratitude has helped her to overcome the pain that she was in. But before we get there, I just want to say a few comments and maybe talk about some more famous quotes to help us get into the right spirit. The thing about this time of year, it's Thanksgiving, which is why we're doing the thing on gratitude, of course. About this time of year, we all start to get excited. You know, we get to spend more time with our families. This time of year can also be very frenzied and hectic and very difficult to work with. Well, and when I say work with, I mean, what happens is the families come together. And there's all kinds of stresses and tensions that arise because this is the family member that always dominates the conversation and you can never get a word in edgewise. Or it's the aunt who gets offended because she wasn't included in the planning for Thanksgiving dinner. Whatever the case is. Or maybe you didn't have such a hot year in your business. And as a result, this Thanksgiving, it's hard to be thankful for anything when your profit and loss dropped, or you may be facing a serious illness, or perhaps you're recovering from an accident, or think about the people in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Do those people have something to be thankful for? I want to talk about the power of Thanksgiving. You know, Thanksgiving is not an activity for once a year. Thanksgiving and gratitude, they're really an attitude, a disposition, a way of looking at the world so that you can keep going no matter what happens to you. Now, if we were supposed to look in the Webster Dictionary for what gratitude means, gratitude itself has a definition, and the definition is thanks or thankfulness, gratefulness. When you give gratitude, you are acknowledging the good in your life. I'm going to talk about it in general, but I'm also going to talk about it specifically when it comes to personal relationships. Because when it comes to personal relationships, those are the very same things that affect us when we're in business. Because business is about relationships. If you think business is all about profit, we need to have a talk, because business isn't all about profit. Business is about building relationships. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you today, and what Stephanie's going to be talking about later in the program, is all about building relationships. Let's talk about gratitude in general. Zig Ziglar says that gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for. It's almost like just by switching our focus, we suddenly can see everything that we have. And when we see what we have, we can move forward with power into our lives. I know a young man. He's very young. He is a young person that I actually went through black belt training with. I believe at the time he was about 14 or 15 years old. And he was good. He was very, very good. And right after his grandmother died this year, he found out that he has bone cancer in his leg. He just yesterday had the surgery to get the amputation. And you know, I looked at that picture and I cried when I looked at this young man, knowing what he's going to be facing to try to live, not try, he'll live a normal life. And I saw a smile on his face. I saw him making the best of a very challenging and difficult situation, because gratitude is the healthiest of emotions. It's going to help him recover from his disease. It's going to help him restore his life to normal. We know that people with prosthetics, they often do quite well. I actually wouldn't be very surprised at all if he comes back to martial arts. But when we look at what we already have, suddenly our life is lighter and we can have joy. If for no other reason than we're breathing and we're alive and we have the opportunity to make the difference in the world. Oprah Winfrey, actually, she echoes the same sentiment. She says, be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you never, ever have enough. That's the truth. When we focus on what we don't have, we never have enough of what we don't have. And it's a painful, difficult reality. Why is that? When we focus on what we don't have, what you focus on, you tend to get more of. So if I focus on what I don't have, the things I don't want, I tend to get more of those things. Don't ask me how it works. I just know that's the way it is. If you're in business and you focus on what you don't have, then what happens is you tend to gravitate toward what you lack. And from a position of lack, you simply cannot make more because you're always looking for the ways that you're losing. But I want to encourage you to look at all the ways you're winning. Whenever I go into a coaching session with a client, the first thing I ask them is, what went well this week? And you know what? My clients are starting to see that there's a lot of good that's been going on in their life. Yes, we're coming together because there's work that needs to be done. The most important truth in the world is that something's gone well. And that's a source of strength for people. You see, gratitude brings joy. And there's a verse in the Bible that says that the joy of the Lord is your strength. Have you seen somebody that's depressed and upset? They can't do anything. But if you've seen someone who's grateful, they get excited. They have passion. They have the strength and the power to fulfill their dreams, even if things don't look like they're working out. Be thankful for what you have. Concentrate on it. Here's a really good one too, by Robert Brault. He says, enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize they were the big things. The little things, the big things. What are the little things in your life? The little things that are making a difference in other people's lives. Take a moment, even if you're listening to this podcast, go ahead and pause it and take a deep, deep breath and look around you for something small that you can be grateful for. You know, even just walking is something small, and yet my young friend would give anything to get his leg back. Even walking, something small, can be something of great, great value. I remember when I broke my arm last year, I didn't realize how much I valued using my arm until I couldn't use it. I didn't realize how being pain-free was such a joy until I had pain. What are you enjoying? What do you have right now? What small thing is in your life that you can be thankful for? Can you read? Do you have sight? Do you have children? Think about that aunt that's coming over that might get upset about the planning. What can you do? What joy does she bring in your life? What if you greeted her with a joyful, an excited demeanor instead of, oh, that's that aunt again? You know, that could change your whole Thanksgiving week, your whole day with your family, just looking for the good. And if you're not in that habit, well, I have to tell you, somebody's going to think you're crazy, but it's okay. Let them think you're crazy, because the honest truth is you are making phenomenal changes in your life with gratitude. I like this quote by William Arthur Ward, and I'm using it often when I send thank you cards now. It says, the feeling of gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So you're going to feel gratitude, but you need to express it. Stephanie's going to share about the power of journaling in her life. And I want to encourage you to listen carefully to what she has to say, because journaling about gratitude has literally changed her life. Take the time to write thank you notes to people who are important to you. Do you have clients who continuously come back to you? Write them a handwritten thank you note. People love that because in that stack of mail that we get, most often it's bills or solicitations for credit cards or asking for donations. But when someone sees a handwritten note to them, they stop, they watch, and they listen. Well, what I'm going to do at this time is I'm going to share with you what Stephanie recorded just for you today in this time of Thanksgiving. So listen carefully to what she says, and then we'll do a wrap up at the end.
Hey guys, Stephanie Scheller here. So every so often when Anna and I can't actually get together and coordinate our schedules to record together, we still want to give you guys the best of both of us. So since we're talking about gratitude, I want to share with you guys kind of my experience and what I've learned about the power of gratitude this year. And it's been interesting, right? Because this is the time of year when suddenly everybody starts talking about gratitude, thankfulness, Thanksgiving, and appreciation, and shine a little light, be the light. Like we start going like absolutely crazy with this whole, be thankful stuff, which is cool and it's great. But what I've learned over this past year is that, while I always appreciated it before, the stuff I've learned has given me a whole new level of appreciation. So let me kind of walk you guys through my story. But my story with gratitude here. So in June of this year, I was actually looking at my journal. It was June 12th. But in June of this year, I was going through some crazy stuff. There was several situations going on. I'm not going to go into the details because they're not really important, but suffice to say that between it being the slow season for my business and between me like losing my head over these other two major issues going on, it was really starting to get into my head with, hey, this is going on and that's going on. And I was really starting to get down again. Now, you'd never know it from looking at me and chatting with me now, but 10 years ago, I actually was, I all through childhood and college, and I would visit psychologists every so often to deal with anger issues and depression issues. And in college, they actually diagnosed me as dealing with depression, and I never wanted to take any medication for it. So I just, kept doing my own thing. But I was in a pretty dark place. And over the past few years, I've morphed and I've changed and I've shifted and I've become this person that I would even venture to label myself an optimist at this point. Always looking for the good, looking for how things are going to work out. The glass is definitely half full because guess what? That glass is being filled. It's fantastic. And so, I've reached this new place of being, but in June of this year, dealing with these two major issues and then going into the slow season in my business, it was a little bit scary. I'm not going to lie. I was sitting here tearing my hair out a little bit. And so I was reading this book and it recommended that we do a gratitude exercise. So every morning I start doing a gratitude exercise. And June 12th, 2017 was the first day I did the exercise. And the way it worked was pretty basic. You just sit down and you write down, I am grateful for blank. I am grateful for blank. I'm grateful for blank. I'm grateful for, and you try and get to 10 items, 10 minimum without counting. So you just write as many as you can. And when you can't think of any more, you just count them up and see how many you've got. And then you move on. And the goal is to get to be doing 10 consistently. And so I start to do this exercise every morning. I'm doing this exercise, and the first morning I did it, I think I got 8, and then, I got, 9, and then I got 12, and then I got 7, and then I got 4, and then I got, and you look and you can see how many I was getting over a period of time because they're all in this one little journal. But what I started to find was that by doing this gratitude exercise every morning, it shifted my perspective, because we all know what you focus on expands. What you focus on is going to grow. What you focus on is what you're going to be drawn towards. And so the amazing thing was I started writing down stuff like, I'm grateful for the money in my bank, right? We're going into the slow season in the business. And because I was sitting there going, I'm really glad I've got a buffer in my bank account. And it was amazing because the more I wrote down, I'm grateful for the money in my bank, the more that number kept growing. So I started writing down, I'm grateful I'm losing weight. And I started losing weight. And then I started writing down, I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for that, right? So I start writing down all these things. I'm grateful for great hair, and my hair has, I've been using this particular shampoo for a year, almost a year now, and my hair is really starting to look good and really fill out, and it looks great. I love it. And so I spend every morning writing this exercise down, and I just liked it because it shifted my perspective for the day, right? It really made me focus on the good things in life. And what I found was that at the end of 30 days, I didn't really notice, and I certainly didn't stop. And now, we're almost 6 months later, we're 5 months later, 5 months and 3 days later, and I'm still doing this exercise every single morning because it makes that big of a difference. So, I just thought this was really freaking cool, right? But I'm also kind of the type of person who doesn't really tend to talk about something until I've got the science behind it. Because for me, I'm very aware of this thing called the placebo effect. Now, the placebo effect doesn't make it any less real, but at the same time, I don't want to start, promoting information that isn't based in facts and based in some science. And so I thought it was great. I thought it was really cool. But then I went to this event in October, and it was a Tony Robbins event. And it was a phenomenal event. Okay, so he's talking about how you can change your state anytime you want to. You can go from a beautiful state, which the beautiful states are the states like, joy and excitement and eagerness and thrill and all those things. And you can go from the beautiful states to the states of suffering. And the states of suffering are, stress and overwhelm and anger and frustration and loneliness and all these other states that, you may fall into. And he talked for most of the training about how you can shift your state. So you can go from a suffering state to a beautiful state with the snap of a finger. You can do it really, really quickly. But what he then shifted was he said, you can go into a state of appreciation and of gratitude. And he said, the thing is, what it does to your body is amazing. And he put this graphic up on the screen, and it showed your heart waves, or your heart activity and your brain waves, right? I think it's ECG and EEG. So he puts this graphic up on the screen, and they're both go in different directions, right? So it says the heart and brain under stress, under anxiety, and or frustration, under stress / frustration. And they're both going different directions, right? When the brain activity is high, the heart activity is really low. When the heart activity is really high, the brain activity is really low. They're going opposite directions. It's jagged. It's ugly. There's no pattern to it. It's just, it looks rough. And he said, but the beautiful thing is when you shift that same person to a place of appreciation, to a place of gratitude. And he showed us the next slide. And the next slide showed the heart activity and the brain activity aligning and moving at the same pace. And every time the heart activity went up, the brain activity went right up with it. And the beautiful thing was not only did the pattern become extremely regular, but the pattern became regular and the edges, whereas previously every time, the two patterns changed direction, it was jagged, it was sharp, they rounded out to where they were no longer this really rough, jagged, ugly pattern. They came together. And he said, the thing is, when you focus on and when you live in a state of gratitude, when you live in a state of appreciation, your body reacts, your body aligns. And he went through this entire exercise with us, and it was an absolutely phenomenal exercise. And we've got my notes. I can definitely upload those for you guys, for those of you guys who are interested in them. But he walked us through this exercise to find the solutions. And basically the point was when you focus yourself in a place of gratitude, not only does what you focus on expand, not only does your body start to work together, but when you put yourself into a place of gratitude and a true focus on gratitude and appreciation, you start to get answers for the problems you're facing. And that was probably the most mind-boggling part, was that when you focus on this appreciation and this gratitude, you start to get answers, the answers that you need. And so I want to encourage you to slow yourself down and to take time to really, truly get into the spirit of gratitude and appreciation. You know, we're coming up on the holiday season. I don't care what your religion is or what part of the world you're in. This is pretty much the holiday season for almost all of us. We've got some kind of holiday we're celebrating. And we're getting to the point where we're trying to focus on that appreciation and that gratitude. And I really want to encourage you to make that your goal this time, because the truth of the matter is that appreciation, that gratitude makes such a big difference in your life. It's such a small thing to do. It's such a small focus, but it will absolutely transform your life. And I challenge you to really, truly, as we go into this holiday season, as we're in this holiday season, to really sit yourself down, come to realize the true meaning of that gratitude, because it will transform your life. Wishing you the best, sending you the best. You guys go out there. You can make it a great life, but you're the only person who can decide to do it. So go out there and make it great.
Wasn't that absolutely amazing what Stephanie shared? I just want to very quickly recap what she was talking about. She saw a shift in her life when she started to focus on being grateful every single morning. And she does this with her list of 10. And so it helped her to change her focus. And it also prepared her to hear what Tony Robbins had to say. And have you ever noticed that when you shift from a spirit of complaining or looking at the bad side or something that's going on in your life that you don't want to happen, but when you shift into gratitude, when you're thankful for what you already have, there's a lightness that comes into your heart. There's a spirit of joy that you're no longer worried. It doesn't surprise me a single bit, the whole idea that our bodies kind of synchronize when we go into gratitude. That's how powerful gratitude is. Gratitude aligns our energy. And I'm going to have to tell you something. It lines you up with God. God is such an abundant God. There's no shadow of turning with him, as the Bible tells us. But God is a great God and a God of abundance and a God who cares personally for each and every single person listening to this broadcast. Not just if you're listening to the broadcast, but everyone throughout the world. You know, sometimes we think that if we're grateful that we're not going to get into action and we're not going to do things. But the fact of the matter is when we're grateful, then it energizes us. We don't have two parts of ourselves pulling against each other, but everything is working together. And suddenly, with enough gratitude, and when I say enough, because sometimes one, I thank you, Lord, isn't enough. Sometimes you have to just stick with it. But with gratitude, what happens is you are aligned. You are aligned with God. And when that happens, you can start to take the action you need to work with him to make things happen. There's a belief in the Jewish religion that we don't make a living, rather we take a living from God, that God wants to carry our burdens. I like that idea. I think it helps to relieve us of the duty of making more money, of the duty to close more sales. Rather, it frees us to serve. It frees us to trust, and it frees us to really be present with the people that we're with when we're with a customer or a client, or as we're about to do with a Thanksgiving with family members, people that we struggle with, that we have to spend time with. Well, in conclusion today, I just want to share with you some words from The Secret Prayer by Dr. Joe Vitale. Dr. Vitale talks about something called active gratitude. Active gratitude. He calls it noticing the good in the moment. It really comes back to being mindful, right? So we want to live in a spirit of thankfulness, according to Dr. Vitale, realizing that all you have right now is a miracle and a gift in itself. Give thanks in each moment for the moment. Get overwhelmed with love. Acknowledge all that you've already been given and that will attract more to you than what you are already grateful for. You know, we talked about Zig Ziglar's quote in the beginning. We talked about Oprah Winfrey. The truth is that when you're grateful for what you have, you can find contentment there. And in contentment, you have the power to move forward and do what is necessary. And then you become a partner with God. Some of you may think of the divine or the universe, but I'm here to tell you that God wants to be personally involved in your life. You are not alone in your business. You are not alone in your work, but rather become a partner with God. Turn to Him for inspiration, and you do that through gratitude. I want to close our episode this week with another quote from Dr. Vitale, and I think it encapsulates beautifully exactly what we're talking about when it comes to gratitude. If we were to practice gratitude in the moment, all worries would vanish, all problems resolve, all miracles would come easily. In fact, if we really were in gratitude in the moment, we would realize we are already happy. From me and Stephanie, I want to thank you for joining us on Black Belt Selling, for listening faithfully every single week. We wish you the happiest of holidays, a very happy Thanksgiving for those of us in the United States. Those of us who are not, take a moment today. Be grateful. Be grateful for what you have in the moment, and know that you are already happy. From me and Stephanie and our families to yours, have a happy Thanksgiving, and God bless you. I want to thank you for listening to Black Belt Selling with Stephanie and Anna Scheller. Now, if you want to stay in touch with us every single day, join us in our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Black Belt Selling. There you will find interesting motivational quotes. You'll hear from our blogs and from other members who are part of the group. But most importantly, you're going to know when these podcasts go live. So jump over to Facebook right now. Go to facebook.com/groups/Black Belt Selling. Ask to join us now.